Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Mysterious Worlds. I'm your host, Paul Rook, and our guest tonight, the evil queen herself, is Miss Kerry Greenaway. Hello, Kerry.
Hello.
Hello, how you been?
Oh, absolutely fine, thank you.
I haven't seen you for ages.
Since last
It's only,
night.
only been, what, less than 24 hours, isn't
It
it?
has been less than 24 hours. Yeah.
Oh, dear. Okay, so where should we start? Well, you run a crystal selling business. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I started Spirit and Soul Island Crystals, about 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
Selling crystals and minerals, on, just selling
Hmm.
crystals and minerals, and then incorporating that knowledge. And then I thought, well, we were doing the paranormal concept show and I went off on various angles while selling the crystals and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I've learned so much in the last 10 years. So then more recently, I thought I'd sort of like take it a step further, as it were,
Yeah.
because I noticed people would buy crystals and minerals, which was great. Don't get me wrong. Fantastic. But what do you do with them once you've got them? Because I don't do physical healing. A lot of people will buy for physical healing purposes,
Yeah.
and I don't do physical healing with them. I use them in regards to manifestation and ritual work and meditation and that kind of angle. So
Yeah.
it really was I noticed that a lot of the stuff that was out there was all designed to spiritual communication. So like almost like platform mediumship, like connect with your spirit guides or connect with this, your Uncle Bob or whatever. And
Yeah.
I kind of was like, hold on a minute, everyone's buying all loads and loads of stuff, but are they actually knowing what they can do with it and the effect that they can have for themselves on it? So that's when I took the next step and took it over and went to the Spirit and Soul Island Academy. So now I do the two. I do the Spirit and Soul Island Academy, which
Yeah.
is like a private, hidden, secret group.
And
And
I know, sorry, I know there's a really interesting story of how Spirit and Soul Island came into existence.
oh yeah, you want me to tell
Yeah,
you?
yeah, go for it because I like hearing that story.
Okay. So like this was at a time in my life where I was a single mum. I had two young boys, so I wasn't able to go out a lot. And I was bored. I was
Yeah.
working three different jobs, Monday, normal everyday jobs, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
anything to get some money coming in. But I wasn't soul fulfilled. And I took the boys for a day out to the Natural History Museum. Now,
Yeah.
my eldest, Ryder, he doesn't sleep or didn't sleep back then. I mean, God, I can't get him out of bed now, but back then he didn't
Making
sleep
up
at
to it.
all. Yeah, definitely. And it was on one of those evenings where he just was not settling. So I brought him downstairs because otherwise he was going to disturb the other one. And I was
Hmm.
like, oh, I can't deal with both up at the middle of the night. You know what I mean? So, but it was like when I was trying to find something suitable watching on the television, there wasn't anything. And this beautiful computer thing that sits in front of us was like my link to the outside world.
Yeah.
So because we had, you will have to excuse it's that time of night. I am, yeah. It was that time of night where they come and go. So just
Yeah.
be aware of that in the background. And the dog then starts.
Yeah. And the dog starts. He's hungry. Bless him.
He's been fed. He's got nothing to moan about.
He
Um,
wants
so, any-
chicken.
so anyway, he's downstairs, nothing suitable to watch on TV. So I get on the computer and because we've been to the Natural History Museum, I was like, should we have a look at some of the minerals we saw today? Let's just have a little look. Because I'd
Yeah.
always had a thing for crystals and minerals. It was always my favourite. My happy place was in the Natural History Museum crystal section.
Yeah.
And so I typed it, I mean, crystals and minerals. And then a wholesaler came up, was like one of the first things that came up. And I was like, oh, there's a wholesaler. And it was actually Ryder who turned around and said, have a look. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay. So we went and had a look. Um, and I was quite surprised at what you could get wholesale, and the price of them wholesale was like,
Hmm.
wow, compared to what I'd sort of seen in shops and stuff, because it's out of my price range. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. Now, the minimum order for this particular website was just something like 70 quid. It wasn't a lot, but it was,
Yeah.
I didn't have it. Do you know what I mean? So it was
Yeah.
like, it's all well and good seeing it, but starting up or buying something for yourself even was not going to be a possibility. So anyway, they then went to their dad's for the weekend. I went round to a friend's house, and she'd been to a metaphysical shop, and she'd treated herself to some cards, some angel cards, oracle cards actually, and then a pendulum and a couple of crystals, and nothing massive. But was playing around with these things that was in front of us. And although I knew a lot about the spiritual side, I wasn't like doing anything business-wise with it, but I just knew about it. Read tarot cards for a lot of years. So we was playing around with the oracle cards. And I just pulled 3 cards out. And the first card that came out for me was crystals. The second card that came out was way forward. And the third card that came out was go for it. I know, Marley. It was amazing. And if that was a sign right there, do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It was
he's destined.
And I hadn't even discussed what had happened the night before with Ryder. So I was like, literally, I literally can't believe what's just come out.
Yeah.
So we then talked about it. She was like, no, do it. Go for it. You'll be perfect at it. You know your stuff. You don't need, you'd be brilliant at it. I was like, yeah, well, I haven't even got the money to do it. So, that's that. So anyway, come the weekend comes and goes. On the Monday, the postman arrives and a letter comes through the post from the electricity company. Now, at that time, there'd been a big court case or something going on that somebody had taken them to court for overpaying, and they'd had to review everybody's accounts and refund the money. Yeah. And I was like, this was unexpected bonus, 70 quid, the minimum order for this particular wholesaler. And I was like, oh, okay. So... And then you get the dilemma, don't you? You get the dilemma of, right, well, the kids might need new shoes or something at the time. So is it new shoes for them, or is it start up a business? And I thought,
business, obviously.
That's what I did. My mum and dad were horrified, absolutely horrified, because I'm very lucky. I had a lot of help from my parents. They were like, you just wasted 70 quid on a crystal.
Your mic's gone, I think. Well, she'll be back in a few minutes. It happened just before the show anyway. So we will carry on with that story in a little while. But if you say you're back, pal. No, you've gone again.
And we're back.
And you're back. And you're back in the room.
And we're back in the room. And then really, so the first order came in and I set up a Facebook group and, did all the usual stuff that you do when you start a business up. And then literally went from there. Sold that lot, reinvested it, grew. And that's where I am today.
Fantastic. Yeah. No, that's really good. And I buy crystals off you all the time.
Yes, you do. You've got some amazing specimens, even if I do say so myself.
I actually made a nice one tonight, actually.
Did you?
I'm well proud of that. I'll send you the picture later.
Thank you. That'd be lovely. Do you like to see what happens to the crystals that I sell? Do you know what I mean? Because they come here and I get an affinity with them, because I like to, I don't just like to get them in and then sell them. Sometimes they need a while to bed down, relax themselves. Sometimes they want to move on quick. Like some of the skulls come in and they're like, where's my guardian? Where's my guardian? And I'm like, well, give me a chance. I've only just opened the box. Do you know what I mean? And it's funny. It is funny. And some pieces will disappear on the shelf. They'll be on the shelf for a long time. And every time I do 2 or 3 lives a week. Do you know what I mean? Through varying platforms.
I can imagine you open a box and it's like, let me out. Ventriloquist.
Honestly. I had a box that was sitting down here, and it was a couple of days because it was over Christmas, and I wasn't getting the time to get the delivery in and get it sorted and whatnot. And literally the nagging that was going on was crazy. And the argument would be for the normal, like, skeptical people out there regarding crystals, the skeptical people out there are going, it's pretty stuff you want to have a look at. So psychologically you're going, God, I just want to have a look at what I've bought. Do you know what I mean? I suppose if you bought a load of clothes and it was sitting on the side, it would be the same thing. It really isn't. It really is. It's like constant nag. So I was up at, I think, at 4 o'clock one morning, undoing this delivery because they were annoying me so much. So yeah, but you do get an affinity with them, and yes, it's not backed up scientifically whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
It is completely not backed up. There's no scientific proof of crystal energy or crystal healing. I mean, yes, there are in regards to, you know, when we talk about what conducts electricity and stuff like that. But in regards to human connection with crystals, there is no scientific evidence. However, these people, close-minded, I feel sometimes, close-minded.
Absolutely.
Because they can't explain everything, and that's what annoys me about the scientific community sometimes, is that they get a bit narrow-minded, and just because they've not explained it yet doesn't mean it's not happening. It's a bit like...
No, that's it. I mean, they do know, obviously, that crystals can hold energy as such, and that they are looking at putting information into crystals to store it. So it's like the Superman crystals, in the Christopher Reeve movie.
This is true.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you a funny story about that. I was at an event.
Go on.
Oh God, this is like a proper facepalm moment. I really wasn't thinking at all. And it had been a busy day, and I was actually at an MBS, a Mind, Body and Soul event.
Yep.
And then this woman brings this kid over, and this kid's like looking and looking. And he's going, I can't find the crystal I want. And I was like, what are you looking for? Does it have a name? And he went, kryptonite. I went, Superman's nemesis. And I went to him, you do know it's not real, don't you? And his mother just sort of looked at me and was like, no, what are you doing to my child?
You ruined it for him.
I ruined it. But yeah, bless him.
Yeah, no, they Superman had the green kryptonite one, but there was also the quartz crystal that they used to store the memories of Krypton, and they put them in the little reader.
I don't watch these things, so all I knew was kryptonite. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was really funny. It was, well, it wasn't funny then. I mean, I was horrified. The mother was horrified. She was crying.
Just go to whole hog and tell him about Santa.
And the Easter Bunny's not real either.
Santa's real. We all know he is. I track him every year on NORAD.
I know, it was awful. Awful moment. Really bad one.
Brilliant. Well, someone in the chat room, I don't know who they are, just says Facebook user, and they're having eating strawberries and cheesecake strawberry cheesecake while they're listening to us.
You know what? You can't beat a bit of strawberry cheesecake.
No, it should bring it round, I think.
Share it around a bit. Telling us that they're eating it and not sharing is quite frankly what I say.
Okay, so whereabouts do you sell your crystals?
I sell mainly, I just do it through Facebook. Only really at the moment because I'm a bit time constrained because there's so many strings to my bow, it's untrue. But I just do it through Facebook. So check out Spirit and Soul Island. That's where you'll find me.
Do you sell more on your lives, or do you sell more on your shop that you've got on the Facebook?
Lives all the way.
Cool.
Because you can see it. Photos are all well and good, but we all know what, I don't really trust photographs these days. I don't know about you, Paul, but there are so many filters and so many enhancers and so many, when I do take photographs, I do them in a light box to try to get the best photograph of the crystal I can. But 9 times out of 10, people want to see it in the flesh, as it were.
Yeah.
I always disclose as well, because if I do a nighttime live, then obviously I've got my camera light on to, otherwise it's too dull. So to get the proper beauty of the crystal, sometimes it's nice to do a nighttime live and have the camera on because you see a different aspect of the crystals. I've even done one in like a dusk light because some of the moonstones show better in that kind of light. So it depends. And rocks and minerals are very, very time dependent in what they will show themselves best off. I mean, the quartzes love the sunlight, absolute door light. right? And they will bounce off the light beautifully. So it's disclosing. It's about being completely transparent about the piece that they're getting in regards
Yeah.
to you are selling crystals and rocks and they're not perfect. Yeah,
Mm.
you get really good cuts, really good specimens, but 90% of what hits the metaphysical market tends to be a lower grade, or the higher grades do tend to be a higher price, obviously. But that
Yeah.
was the other thing I wanted about the ethos of my shop was I didn't ever want to be able to price out of people's price range. So I always bear in mind of what would I be happy to pay for it if I was
Yeah.
a consumer. So I've been criticized before that my prices are too low. Personally, I think they're more than fairly priced, knowing the market and how much
Hmm.
things are selling for. And I do source from many different suppliers. I've got loads of different suppliers now. I don't just stick to one, I go to several all around the world now as well. So,
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
get, I reflect. So if I get a
Exactly.
good
I mean,
price,
with the prices, as long as it's as long as you're happy with the profit that you make, it
exactly.
makes no difference. And yeah, so the people that are telling you you're doing them too cheap are the ones that you're probably undercutting.
Probably. But that's why my customers come back time and time again. They get fantastic quality crystals at fantastic prices from somebody that they can trust, because I never said
Yeah.
what you see is the piece you get as well.
Yeah.
So I don't go, oh yeah, I'm Green Adventure on point and I've got 5 and I just pick the crappiest one and send that. No, the
Mm.
piece you choose is the piece you get. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, and I do it. So I love it. I love crystals and minerals. I have to say, it's like my favorite thing in the whole wide world. They never let me down.
Mm. Yeah, no, and I find it quite amazing sometimes when you're showing the labradorite pieces that
It's
you
beautiful.
get, and they're dull as anything, and the second you pick them up, they're like, "Oh, hello!" and they all
They
and
wake
the
up.
flashes and stuff. Yeah, I think it's
They
quite
wake up.
amazing.
And
Yeah.
particularly with like the moonstone, which is very, it is very linked to energy.
Hmm.
Um, You've seen before as well, like I'll pick a piece up and it's not flashing blue at all. And
Yeah,
then I give it a little rub, I give it a little talk to, and then all of a sudden it'll just wake up in my hand. And I could have shown the same angle 20 times before and it wouldn't do it. And then
yeah,
it will wake up in my hand. And the labradorite is very much similar to that on the darker side. And
mm,
it'll be like, oh, come on, wakey, wakey. It's like when I get them out the box straight from the supplier, they are not awake, they are dormant.
yeah.
And I'll be like, oh God, they're not flashy at all. And, obviously with crystals like that, the flash or the Schiller effect, it's called,
Hmm.
is the selling point of that particular crystal.
Yeah,
So I'm thinking, God, if I've not got a flashy one, it's going to sit on my shelf for years. Do you know what I
mm,
mean? But then all of a sudden, as it's sitting there in front of me and I'm working, through the delivery and whatnot, it'll gradually start to wake up and then it's off. And it's just brilliant. It's just brilliant to
yeah.
witness it. It's brilliant to witness it. Forget being energetically attuned to it. It's just brilliant to witness it.
Hmm. You say you work with them as well. What sort of things do you do?
I do a technique called crystal gridding,
Mm,
which I use in regard to manifestation work, or if I want to achieve a result, or if I'm just giving gratitude, or I use crystal gridding quite extensively in ritual work and that sort of thing. So when you work with crystals, it's one of the techniques you can use is crystal gridding, which is basically building a geometrical pattern with a variety of crystals that are set to the specific intention that you want. And it's your signal to the universe that that is what you're trying to achieve and that's what you want to happen. And it's a manifestation technique, basically.
okay.
That's how I use a lot of crystals and minerals.
Is that is that what you did when you got your electricity bill back or whatever it was?
I didn't know about it then. I just was like, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
I did it that way instead. So I did.
Oh, excellent. I think that Facebook user, I would assume it would be Emma because she says she's sitting in cold Spain.
Yes, that must be our Emma.
Yeah, well, I'm sitting in Atherstone next to the radiator, so I'm nice and warm.
And I'm sitting in Canvey Island next to a radiator, nice and
Exactly. But no strawberry cheesecake.
oh, just a good old blighty cup of tea.
Absolutely. Cool. Okay, so going on from Spirit and Soul, you
Yeah,
said you started an academy.
I
How did
did.
that one come about?
I knew I was going to go into more of a teaching role,
Hmm.
um, and I kind of knew it was coming, and I should have done it a long time ago,
Okay.
to be fair. But we had taken a break from the concept show,
Yeah.
and it sort of gave me the mind space to go, right, okay, how do I want to move forward, basically,
Hmm.
with what I want to do. Do I want to do podcasting? Because we've done podcasting for a lot of years, hadn't we, Paul?
We have, yeah.
And I felt like that wasn't whatever I do in terms of this side of my life has to be fulfilling.
Hmm.
And the concept show got to a point where, and I think Paul would admit this too, it wasn't fulfilling.
Yeah.
It sort of got to a point where it just felt laborious. So
Hmm.
we took a break from that, basically to recalibrate, and find how all of us individually, because Richard was involved in this too, how
Yeah.
we was going to move forward, whether we were going to move forward with the concept show or not. So throughout that break, I took time. I thought, right, okay, what is it I want to do? How do I want to move forward? And I didn't want to give it up, but I also didn't want to have the pressure of it being a weekly show.
Yeah.
But I knew I needed an outlet for my spirituality,
Hmm.
beyond just selling. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because there is so much knowledge, and it was only I mentored um, one of my customers. Basically, she'd asked if I'd do some mentoring sessions with her, which I did offer out into the selling world.
Yeah.
Um, and it was whilst I was doing the mentoring with her, I was like thinking, okay, this feels like it's like my training ground. It feels like this is a training ground, not just for her, but for me. It felt like
Yeah.
a very energetic exchange on this one. So to then put it out into the wider field, sort of like was a really good idea. And
Hmm.
then we had a convergence of Gemma coming back into my life
Yep.
for a completely different reason. But I always worked very well with Gemma. And, when we first started talking again, then I did her a card read and that came, that was validated. And, she was like, oh my God, and stuff like this. So she stepped onto a spiritual pathway, which was something she had not really embraced before. She was always quite skeptical
Yeah.
before. And I felt like actually this is like the perfect timing because I'm very good, but I always need somebody to bounce off of.
Hmm.
Um, that's just how I like to work. So to actually have somebody who's completely new and I can teach them, but sort of like put it out.
Yeah.
And she's very good at questioning as well. So what if I'd done a workshop? She's bringing up questions that I wouldn't necessarily have thought of because I've been doing it for so
Yeah.
many years. So that the balance of that actually is incredible. And the journey she's had in literally the last, well, I've been working with her now for 6 months. We launched I launched the academy in November and she's been with me, but she obviously a couple of months before that we were working. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was sort of like the perfect balance to go forward in the perfect partner, I suppose you would call it, to
Yeah.
go forward into the academy. Um, so it just felt like the right time with the right people in the right place and the right like meld. It just felt good and it felt the
Yeah.
right time. So that's really where it went. Now, I mean, I know I could do it on my own, but I always like doing it with somebody. Like I like doing the paranormal concept show. We went back to doing the concept show. We've
Yeah.
got back to doing it once a month, and that feels like a nice balance with that. So I don't feel like I've lost that
Yeah.
paranormal link, as it were.
It's running quite smoothly as well, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, it's quite a nice balance in now, because I didn't want to lose it, but I didn't want the pressure of once a week.
Yeah.
So to go into once a month does sort of, and it's both of us now, really. We're both of
It does.
things, but we needed to do that involvement. We needed that realignment. We needed to recalibrate at the time.
Give ourselves chances for other projects to come in as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what that breathing space did.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then Mysterious Worlds was born.
Yeah, you went away and did your jewellery and Mysterious Worlds, and I do
Kept
the
me busy.
Academy and Spirit and Soul Island Crystals, and yeah,
Cool.
life is busy but good.
Absolutely. So, who picks the subjects you cover in your academy?
It's all me.
Okay. And how do you come to that conclusion? Is it just a progression of different things, or is it just randomly?
It's spirit led, to be fair, because like throughout the month we'll cover Crystal of the Month.
Yeah.
We do Tarot of the Month. We do Folklore of the Month. We do Animal Totem of the Month. These are all articles that they get.
Yeah.
Then we do New Moon meditation, not meditation, ritual work. So it's the ritual work is learning how to do it.
Yeah.
We do the full moon manifestation. So you get manifestations going on and how to use your tools you've got. There's a crystal grid a month. So I'll walk through building a grid that I'm working on, whether that's for me or for a client, and show the progression of that and how to build it and how to charge it and do all that sort of stuff. So they get that information, and it's all about learning. Knowledge is power in regard to spiritual work, because spirit are not always clear cut in regard to how they give you the message. They'll bring it in signs, symbols. They'll bring it in synchronicities and coincidences. They'll bring it through in lots and lots of different ways. And it's down to you to decipher that message that's relevant for you to give. Whether that's for yourself, whether it's for whatever, if you're on the right pathway, give me a sign. How to interact with that energy to get those kind of validations for yourself, and how it all connects, how every single thing in this universe is interconnected. And you can only do that through knowledge, which is something I've got. Do you know what I mean? Which I'm able to give. So in regards to the topics, I very much get led by using the tarot, because tarot comes into it and oracle decks come into it a lot. So I don't go, oh, what crystal do I fancy this month? You know what I mean? It's like, let's pull a card. What card is the card telling me? What's it saying? What crystal is relevant? And that's how Crystal of the Month comes around. Tarot card, I'll keep shuffling until one flies out, and then that's the card of the month. The same with the spirit animal oracles. You know what I mean? I'll use varying decks for this as well. Folklore will be relevant as to what's something that's gone on in the month. So if something comes up, like last month we had, I was involved in a death. Unfortunately, I didn't murder anybody. It just happened, and a family friend, their father passed, and so we covered the impact of that in regard to your spiritual practice, in regards to your belief system regarding, how do you view it? How do you help somebody in that situation from an energetic, spiritual perspective, as much as a personal perspective? And obviously then Charon came through, or Sharon, which is the ferryman. The ferryman. So that was Folklore of the Month. So that's where that came through from. The first ever one we did was Chiron, which is the healer. At the moment, it feels very Greek based, actually, with the folklore. We quite a lot. We've dealt with the fates, we've talked about higher selves. We've talked about so much stuff. And if the academy members, because it's interactive, it's not just me sitting there going, whoa, 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 whoa. It's very interactive. And they love that, because, like they do a grid, I could post it in the academy. It's okay. Do you know what I mean? How does this feel? And I can give them my feedback on that, and, give them hints for in future, you could do this. But generally, it's a very interactive place, and it's a very authentic place as well. So when I talk in the academy, sometimes I talk about very personal things, because it's showing how things are validated, in
Yeah.
regards to spiritual practice. So like with Gemma, she's going through a particular situation, and they'll see me do her read, a weekly guidance, and then at the end of the weekly guidance, she'll be like, yep, that happened exactly as you said. Do you know what I mean? So it's showing how it plays out, because also sometimes when you do have a tarot reading or a spiritual reading in any way, it can be a bit, well, you know, you can have a bit of a wobble on this day and it's a bit fake.
Yeah.
Right. So to show how it plays out is, in my opinion, just as important as the message itself. Because if you're farting in the wind, as the expression goes, then what's the point in it all? It's the same. Like I said earlier, I'm not a Catholic. I don't do things with blind faith. I like validation on the work I'm doing. So for the Academy, it's a place of affirmation, validation in regards to your spiritual practice, and learning how to read that.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been to a few medium nights previously, and to give you an example, I think out of two mediums, I can't remember who they were, but one of them was like, I can, he was doing like remote viewing at their house, and he was like, as I go in, I'll turn left, you've got your living room, opposite the door that I've just walked in, you've got a fireplace. And on the fireplace, the spirits are telling me that there's a picture there of your parents that are passed. And the woman turned around and said, "No, I've got no pictures on that mantelpiece at all." And he said, "Well, they're telling me you should have it there." And I'm like, "Really?"
But you've got to remember, this is not a place where we're connecting with loved ones.
Yeah.
This is not that kind of group at all.
Mm-hmm.
This is not, because that's not how I work at all. You've
No,
seen me
that was just a
normal,
medium.
yeah, but that is not. This is about your personal, unique journey to you and how you move forward in your spiritual belief system. We incorporate psychology into that. We look at both sides of the coin. Is it coincidence? Is it just one of those things that's just happened? You know what I mean? We bring the paranormal information through as well, like, you know, using that as validation. You know, we look at the scientific side and argue both sides of the coin. So it is a very, very authentic space in regards to, I mean, we had fun on Sunday. We were doing colours. We were talking colour being resonance and adding another energy level into your day, and how colours can evoke various emotions within you. This isn't overly spiritual. It's actually very psychological, right?
Yeah.
And I was posting up photographs of colors, different colors, going through the chakra system, using that as a guide. That tied it in. So we go, okay, how does the color purple? And I'd gone and got one of those swatch kind of things, which has gone from a dark purple through to the light purple. And I'm going, right, so let's look at the dark side. How is that making you feel? And actually, there's a very famous painter, I think, don't quote me on this, folks, I think his name is Rocco. And he, very famous canvases where everyone was like, I could do that. Yeah, which was basically dark red going in stripes down to a light red at the bottom. It's so you'd know it if you saw it kind of painting. And the amount of people that are missing the point, because it's about evoking emotion through the color spectrum. And that's what art critics were looking at it with it in mind, was that emotional journey that was linked within the color resonance that was in front of you. Now, when we talk about adding color into our spiritual practice, you're adding another energy level through your crystal grid. So, for example, if you was trying to do to evolve your spiritual awareness, for example, you would use a purple cloth. Yeah. So it's, why would you use a purple cloth? Do you know what I mean? What does it mean to you?
I suppose, yeah. I mean, when you see tarot readers and like the looking into glass ball thing, you know, they've always got that purple tablecloth.
It's the color of spirituality. And actually, when you look at your chakra system, purple is the color of your third eye, which you open to do your meditations and your spiritual practice. You talk about opening your third eye, right? So why is the third eye there? Why is it there? Well, it's because that's where your pineal gland sits. So we can actually look at biology and go, that's actually where your pineal gland sits. And when they talk about calcification of your pineal gland
Yeah,
and trying to wake that up, sometimes, so we do bring normal, explainable stuff in to explain why this is, because that's the other thing. If, even through the paranormal, both of us have always said,
yeah,
why did ghosts allegedly set off an EMF meter? Where did that thought come from? Do you know what I mean?
mm,
How did that evolve? So we learn. We went away
yeah,
and we learn, and that's exactly what we're doing in the academy. We're teaching and we're learning and we're looking at it from lots of different angles. So you individually can progress in your way, your unique little way, because your way is not going to be the same as me. I'll
yeah,
bring you the knowledge, and it's up to you to take that forward in the way that feels correct for you and
hmm,
how you work. Because nobody works the same. No medium will read the same. No tarot reader will read a spread the same. It's so unique to you. But you always have to start from somewhere. You always have to have a knowledge somewhere. And that interconnectedness of all of these things are very integral into that. And it's about learning how to decipher the dots and utilize the tools that you've got. Why do we buy a cauldron? Why do witches have cauldrons? How do you use it? You buy it, it sits on the side for 20 years, not doing anything.
just a cooking pot,
What's
isn't it?
the point? That's only one way, though. When we're talking witchcraft, it's a completely different thing. So we're looking at witchcraft tools and ritual tools and how to do different forms of ritual in regards to your spiritual practice. And so far, we've done basic candle magic. We've done cauldron magic. We've done scrying with cauldron magic. We're mixing it up each time as well, showing them different ways of working with the tools that they've got. And I'm trying stuff I've not tried. I don't know how this is going to work. Let's have a go.
Yeah. No, it sounds good. And what you need to do is when you get your first million or a couple of million at least in the bank through this, you need to buy your own Hogwarts school.
Oh God, that would be awesome,
It
wouldn't it?
would.
That'd be awesome. I haven't quite learned how to transfigure into a cat yet.
No, we were working on it, I'm sure. Um, but going back to the colours, I mean, when I was a kid, people had asked me what my favourite colour was, and I'd say blue. A little bit later on in life, I was told that I was a healer, and then a little bit later after that, I found out that my aura is blue, and blue is that's connected to healing, isn't it? So it all ties in, I reckon.
And this is the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is the point. What you go to an auric photographer type person, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Completely different subject on that one, but we won't touch that now. But
Well, we'll
when
cover
you're
that in a
talking
concept show.
auric colours, yeah, and you go, oh, your aura's got very much a lot of yellow in it, but a bit of orange as well, but there's a little bit of black there too, and blah 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 blah. What the hell does it mean?
Yeah.
It's all well and good saying, oh, you've got a pig. I see a pig totem around you. Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Great pig. But what does it mean? It's all well and good saying that, but you've got to understand what that creature is and how that creature relates in regards to
It's
the
a
message
symbol,
that's
isn't it?
being
It's,
given.
yeah.
And it's all about symbolism. And if you don't know anything about symbolism, or you don't know what these things mean, and varying cultures, because this is cross-cultural as well. You've
Yeah.
got how many times have we talked about this? You know what I mean? In the concept show, it's like, there are themes that run through every single culture. Right. This
Hmm.
is no different in regards to spirituality. There are themes that will run through in your regards to spirituality. It might be termed differently, but
Yeah.
it will have a meaning.
Absolutely.
Why?
And I think colours are always prolific in that, isn't it? It's
Mhm.
always a colour of some sort. It's just meaning different things in different cultures. Because I
Exactly.
know red in China is supposed to be your lucky colour.
It's very lucky.
Yeah, and the reason for that is the envelopes, the red envelopes that the government dish out or something, and it's like a competition thing going on.
It's also the colour of passion.
Yeah, that's
Why
lucky,
is it
isn't
the
it?
colour of passion? Why is it the colour of danger?
Don't know. Sort of goes in hand, doesn't it?
Kind of.
Yeah,
And then when you relate the chakras where red sits, it actually sits at the base of your spine, which actually relates to if you think where your base of your spine is, that's basically in your crutch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
And then you go passion and danger. That kind of speaks for itself, really, doesn't it?
It does a bit. Goes hand in hand, that one.
It
Avoid
does.
it at all cost.
But it's dots that people won't necessarily have connected.
Mhm.
So that's one of the reasons we were doing it. We had so much fun on Sunday doing it. We always end up laughing or crying, I tell you. And there have been times where we've gone on there and we were both in floods the other day. Both of us had some incredible validation, like literally mind-blowing validation. And we brought that into the academy. So Gemma was talking about her situation and she's like floods of tears, and these happy tears. Do you know what I mean? They're like, I can't believe that happened. You know what I mean? Kind of moment.
Yeah.
And then I was telling her about the validation I'd received, and I was like, obviously, because it's infectious. You know what I mean? So I was like crying because she was crying, and everybody in the group going, "Oh my god, this is such a like cathartic." Everyone was crying basically.
Everyone else was going, "Oh god, here she goes again."
No, honestly, everybody was having a right old cry, which was brilliant. But it felt very community based. So although I'm leading it, if they want me to cover something, I'll cover it for them. But they get so much content. It's £15 a month. But trust me, considering what you get in the academy, that is an absolute steal. And again, I've been told that that's not enough. I'm not charging enough for it. But I'm like, you know what? I don't care about the cost.
Yeah.
I'm doing what needs to be done. And yes, there is an energy exchange. And what I'm giving is absolute worth a heck of a lot more than the £15 I'm charging. But at the end of the day, the way I see it is I'm winning on top of that because I'm learning too.
Yeah, absolutely. And what by word of mouth that people are just obviously they're joining your academy, and they're going to be telling people that how amazing it is and how much content they're getting. So you're going to get more people, and 15 quid's nothing, is it really?
No, it's not. I mean, one person said, I don't buy magazines now because this is my magazine.
Yeah.
You know, she's given up like the Fate and Fortune or whatever it was that she was buying every week and whatever. And that was her 15 quid. So, you know, and she's happy with the content that we get. And then we get people on for interviews. You know, like we've had Andy Mercer, the lovely Andy Mercer from PA UK, who's a good friend of ours as well. He's an absolute authority on so many different subjects in his own right in regard to spirituality. We've had him on to explain something with past life regression we were talking about on that particular show. And he does it.
Yeah.
So we'd done a show where I'd talked about my knowledge about past life regression. And then I said, yeah, but, you know, I've never had it done. So I don't know. But that's what I believe. Yeah, that's how I think it works. And then so I said, right, but it's fine. I'm not going to sit on my laurels. I've got a friend who does it, who's a psychologist. I said, let's get him on. And basically, she validated everything I said, which was great for me because I was thinking, thank God for that. but he put it in much better terminology, obviously.
Oh, obviously, yeah.
Than I had. But that was good. And then all of a sudden, I'm now like, I've got to go and have one done, apparently.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay.
I would love to have that done. That is something I've always wanted.
We're going to record it and show it in the academy. I must sort that out because he's going to be moving soon, so I've got to go and do it.
That'd be really good.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun.
Do you think you've been here before? Do you think you've been here before?
Yes.
Okay.
I had a sound bath once, and with the amazingly bonkers, adorable Gareth Hughes.
Is that one of those pods that you just lay in and there's a bit of water in the bottom?
No, that's sensory deprivation tank.
Okay, that's what I thought you were talking about.
No, a sound bath isn't a bath as in water. It's got nothing to do with water. You basically go into, you lay down and then they bring different sounds in. So like it'll be a gong or it'd be a rattle or
the dinner bell and things like that.
Yeah, those sort of things. Yeah. So, and he takes you on a journey, a sound journey through. And basically, so you're in a meditative state and he takes you on this sound journey through. And it was
Okay.
whilst I was in the sound journey that he changed the resonance, they changed the sound, and I found myself in a World War One trench,
Okay.
and I was curled up in the fetal position, and I'd lost my helmet, and I was waiting for the shot. I was
Yeah.
literally terrified, waiting for the shot, and I was like, it was so real. And it was right at the end of the sound bath, and he brought us out the sound bath, and I came out, and I was like shaking like a leaf, and he was
Yeah.
like, "You had a past life moment, didn't you?" And I was like, "Mate, I do not want to live that." And I think that's where I died. I think that was
Yeah.
like some of my final moments. And
Wow.
I was a male as well. That was the weird part. I was actually a man.
Yeah.
Not the gorgeous creature you've seen before you today. And yeah, that was a weird, very, very weird experience. Phenomenal experience. But yeah, I believe I've been here before.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I have. I mean, I've got a couple of talents that I've never learned personally. It's just a case of like one of the talents is drawing.
Mm.
You know, just pick up a pencil and I drew whatever it was at the time. I can do cartoons really easy. Just look at a cartoon and then just draw what I see, and it's pretty much spot on. It's identical. Now I can do that by eye, but
Maybe
you
it
know,
was Walt Disney.
yeah, Walt Disney in a previous life that'd do me. Or I don't know, maybe like an architect or something that does all the drawings, technical drawings or whatnot. I don't know. Archery, I've done that as well.
I've
First
done
time
that.
ever, picked up a bow and arrow, shot the bullseye.
I always shoot whenever I do archery, I seem to shoot to the left.
Yeah,
I
no,
always seem to be a little bit to the
and I
left.
always bunch them in a little bit as well.
You get them quite
Yeah,
accurate. I always shoot to the left when I was doing it. And he was like,
mm,
in fact, he goes, rather than like, he says, like, when you pull back like this,
yeah,
he said, if you just turn a little bit to the left, to the right, sorry, he said, you should be, you probably have to do it sort of like a little at an angle. He said,
yeah,
because you always, when you're going forward like that, he says, you always hit to the left. So you
yeah.
probably have to angle yourself a little bit to the
Just that
right.
you fire a couple off, and then just sort of like, right, okay, well, I'm aiming too far to the right or the left, or it changes stance a bit, and you get it spot on then. But yeah, I know. First time I picked up a bow and arrow, I could do that. Rifle shooting, could do that. So I reckon I've been here quite a few times with the old natural talents. Really weird.
Put it this
And
way, in a zombie apocalypse, I'm not your. There, we're back again.
yep, and you're back in the room again. Yeah, so I thought I've got a few natural talents, and I definitely think I've been here a few times before.
I think I've been hung as well in a previous life
Okay.
because I just cannot bear anything around my neck. Literally can't bear
Yeah,
it. I get so panicky. Anything
my
like
my brother's like
around
that.
necks.
My brother's like that. He can't wear any jumpers or anything that go around his neck.
No, don't like
And
it.
but no, to be fair, if he was hung in a previous life, I could understand it.
Same here. I think I was hung in a previous life, probably for a witch.
Yeah, well, you never know. I mean, if you got that interest now, you know, you might have been done in the past.
Might have done.
Yeah, you could have been Ursula. Is it Ursula Kemp? Which uh, um, wasn't that the witch at St. Osith? Ursula Kemp? No. Okay.
Don't remember. I'm not very good like that. You know me with names. This is the thing about the show, the concept show. If I haven't got it written down in front of me, I ain't taking a chance now. Don't remember names, don't remember dates. I'm awful.
Oh no, I don't remember dates.
Children, I have to have it written down, otherwise I'll forget them. Their birthdays
Yeah,
and stuff. It's
I
terrible.
do. I do find it amusing though when you do when like we're going through the research and we're using it as notes, obviously, but
Yeah,
you jump huge points sometimes, and I'm
I
like,
do. I
wait a
like to
minute,
keep him on his toes. He's like, where the hell is she?
yeah.
And then I'll come back to where I was. And it's like, it throws him.
Yeah, it does. And it's like, let's
He's
have a
referred
break
to
now.
it.
And then when we have a break, we're like, right, okay, where are we in the research?
I'm like, you're not following it.
Yeah,
Like, to me, it's totally logical.
it's funny.
It's like, I've lost her. She's
Okay,
gone.
yeah, I'm right with Ursula Kemp, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's Emma again because
She's
it just
probably
says Facebook
Googling,
user.
Googling away in the background. Well, she
Yeah,
might
there you
know
go.
it.
Yeah, I'm sure she was accused of being a witch, and yeah, I think that was a St. Osyth one. Who I think the body apparently, allegedly, was dug up in the prison in the cage. Then it was sent off to the Witchcraft Museum in Boscastle,
Mm.
and then I think there was a private buyer that wanted the skeleton, so he bought it, and then they sent it back to the priory in St. Osyth, and that's where she's laid to rest now. But we don't actually know whether that was her or not. Probably
No,
wasn't. Yeah, that was the alleged story, but I don't think it was.
I love alleged stories. They're great.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it was a prison, and all the people there that were in the prison, the cage, um, would have been taken to Chelmsford to be
Yeah,
tried and hung
correct.
and stuff. So even if she was taken there, she wouldn't be taken back to the cage to be buried. Makes no sense. So
But they did find skeleton there.
yeah, they did. Yeah, it's quite an interesting place anyway. I've been there, but yeah, apparently it's been sold as well.
Somebody's living there. Don't think they've got
Yeah,
any problems.
no, I don't think they have. But I think whatever it was connected to the person who had it before.
Quite possibly. And sometimes, right, if you have lived, maybe there's a convergence there as well, where it's the right person in the right place. So, like,
Yeah,
maybe Vanessa was called that place because of something that happened in her past lives. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? Which was what was the catalyst for the energy that she was experiencing surrounding her.
yeah. That
And
would
now
make
when
sense.
she's left, she's broken that, or the connection has been broken, which
Yeah,
is why it's all quiet on the Western Front, as it were. And
maybe she was Ursula Kent.
so maybe you don't know, do you? You don't know whether
No.
she was just the catalyst that was the the reason why it kicked off in the first place. I don't know. I don't know enough about the case. I did
Mm.
research it a long time ago.
Yeah, no, that's it. I think you could be right in a way because if you've got Ursula Kemp's energy there, and then Ursula Kemp's physical body in a new life both meet at the same point, you're giving a physical or the energy, the physical as well.
Particularly if dates and things resonate as well. So we don't know.
Mm.
Obviously, it's not something we can validate. But say, for example, Vanessa came into it at the time. I mean, I know she felt it was very foreordained as to how she got the property. It felt like
Mm.
everything was, as I say, convergence is kind of the right word, of
Yeah,
everything converged to the point where she ended up moving and getting the property in the first place. And maybe that's dimensional. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, yeah.
who knows? And that's why I think maybe it was as active as it was while she
Yeah,
was there.
yeah. I mean, that's it. I mean, you're giving the energy something physical that it's connected to,
Mhm.
and when you put them two things together, because they've already got that connection, it could manifest into that. Maybe
It's a possibility.
that's a concept show.
It is a concept show.
Yeah,
That's what we do on the concept show.
yeah. That's it. Down the rabbit holes,
We go down rabbit holes, don't we?
make ant nests.
Termites.
Yeah, them two. Don't leave anyone out.
We don't, we're not like, what's the word? We're not like animalistic phobics or whatever you would class it as. But yeah, I don't know. Funny old world is what I say.
Okay, so let's go back to your academy. How can people join that?
if they pop me a message either through my Kerry Greenaway account or through Spirit and Soul Island, then I'll give you more information if you want more than I've given you tonight. And then, I then send you an invoice, you pay, I add you to the secret hidden private group.
Fantastic. I'm going to get in there one day.
Waiting for you to join, boy.
Might not have to wait long. It's payday soon. Oh dear. No, that's funny. Okay, so is that the only way that people can contact you? You ain't got any websites or anything anywhere?
Yep, just through Facebook really at the moment.
Cool.
When I become less busy, then I'll be doing more through Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah. You should have a shop, I think. You should definitely have a shop.
I know, and to be fair, that is the call. That is the call, to try actually go into a shop and get it out my home. But I don't know if I want to. I like doing what I'm doing at the moment. I'm quite happy and quite comfortable building what I'm doing. But it'll come. It'll come when it's supposed to. As
absolutely. Does. Yeah. Cool. Well, we nearly come to the end of the show.
Already?
Quick. Again. Yeah, I only do an hour.
No.
Yeah. That's it. Nice and easy.
You do like easy.
Oh, don't we just? When are you doing your next live?
In the academy?
No, out of the academy for people like me that are not in it yet.
Friday evening.
Friday evening. Have you got a time planned or not yet?
Not quite. No, not quite sure. Okay. What time? It'll probably be around 8 o'clock. It's normally around 8 o'clock time on Friday evening, and then there'll be another one on Sunday during the afternoon, which usually is around about 1 o'clock.
Have you got any newbies on?
Any newbies?
Yeah.
Of course.
Excellent. I shall be there. Definitely, everyone else should be there as well. The place to be on Friday and Sunday.
Yeah, I do try to do one of an evening because obviously, Sunday people are out and about or with family or whatever. And if I'm working on a Saturday or if I'm out on a Saturday, then I don't always get time to do it on the Saturday. So Friday and Sunday this weekend coming is on Spirit and Soul Island Crystals.
Excellent. Fantastic.
There's some really nice pieces, Paul.
I'm going to be there with my checkbook. And just take me money. There are some great pieces, so something for everybody. Definitely. And I think Emma's going to try and pop in and annoy us both. She said. Yeah, that'd be funny. It'd be good. Nice chat room going as well, don't we?
There we go. Yes. No, it's always nice to see Emma. She's in Spain. She's one of my oldest friends.
Yeah. She won't annoy us. We just block her. It's fine.
Emma. Great. It's not one of my oldest friends. Block. That's not very nice, is it?
She did say she's going to try and annoy us, so you could just block her from the chat.
She annoys me when she says to using selenite bowls as pin holders. Like, really? That's going to scratch the crap out of it.
Well, I think it was just a case of looking to see what you could throw in the bowl.
Not a selenite bowl with pins.
No. I must
get away with a quartz bowl, but you wouldn't get away with the selenite.
No. Oh, she said she's crying now. You'll have to give her a ring and cheer her up.
Not tonight, sweetie. I'm afraid I'm far too busy tonight. I've got another life to do, over in the academy. I know she keeps phoning me, and I'm like, I can't let him. I just can't talk to you right now. I've got too much on.
So if everyone joins the academy now, you can see live.
Well, that's if I got the paperwork sorted in time.
What's your live going to be on tonight?
Oh, tonight we're talking about, because we're ending the month. So we have a quick look back about what we've covered and if there's any questions or anything anybody's got any questions on from the past month. Yeah. And then we do a quick look ahead of what's happening in March because we've got we've got the spring equinox coming in March. We've got like the new moon coming in as well and the full moon coming in. It's the worm moon this month, sorry. and then we talk about crystal of the month, because that's the first of the month is always crystal of the month.
Yeah.
We sort of like, there's always something of the month each week. So so we start talking about that really and going forward with that. And then we do card reads as well. So again,
Okay.
and even that you get card reads as well if you're on the live in the chat, and you get that. So we're doing that tonight. And
Yeah.
Gemma's coming on like amazingly. She's like, I get her to do it first. And she goes, well,
Yeah.
no, hear what Kerry's got to say. And the only difference is experience
Brilliant.
and following the
I
thread.
do
She's
think.
got it. She's got it. She's just got to follow the thread just a little bit more.
Yeah.
She's
I do
doing
think
so
we should
well.
do an excursion to Stonehenge on one of the equinoxes.
Oh, God, no, it's far too busy. Too many people.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
No, it's not. It's smelly.
I'll do it the day before or something then.
It's not a pleasant experience.
I don't know. I've never
Don't get
been.
me wrong, it's an amazing experience because you're there, right,
Yeah.
when it's happening, and the energy is definitely there. But you also have a lot of other people there.
Well, yeah, they're all
I
celebrating.
don't want to be rude about anybody. I don't want to be rude about how people live their lives or whatever. But you get a lot of other kinds of people there, which kind of like, to get to the right position to see it in the way you would want to see it, you don't. There's too many people. And yeah, so you get almost like a carnival atmosphere when you're there, because you've got all these people like for the same purpose, to praise the sun, you know what I mean, and the equinox rising and whatnot. So it does. It has a very specific energy to do, but it's quite annoying. Only because I'm selfish, cow, and I want it all to myself to do.
Anyway, I'll better let you go because you said you got your academy to sort out. So thank you for joining me tonight.
You're
Been
very
an
welcome.
absolute pleasure, and loved hearing about your academy. And I'll join at some point after.
Yes, do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you everyone that's been in the chat room, especially Emma. Keep up the good work. And I shall speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.